Mickey Mouse, it's been in the public. It's been a copyright of Disney for a while now. It's one of their most valuable assets, and a lot of their revenue from their theme parks, they sell these Mickey Mouse ears. They sell Mickey Mouse dolls. They have shows for Mickey Mouse Playhouse. All these different revenue streams are coming from this one asset, and Mickey Mouse is probably a big asset on their balance sheet and makes up a lot of their brand value. So Mickey Mouse, it's entering the public domain in 2024. And in 1998, actually, this came up before, where Mickey Mouse was going to come into the public domain. And they actually lobbied the government, and they got this act passed called the Sonny Bono Copyright Term Extension Act. They were spending millions and millions of dollars to lobby the government to get this Copyright Extension Act put into place, and a lot of people called it the Mickey Mouse Protection Act because Disney saw how valuable Mickey Mouse was to their brand and such, and they wanted to protect it. So I'm wondering whether there's going to be another extension on copyright, or what Disney's going to do if they lose this Mickey Mouse asset in 2024, because it's very valuable to the brand.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse is undeniably like super fucking valuable to that brand, right? But the whole thing is that people don't realize this. At some point, a lot of people don't know this, but I think it was like the late 90s or early 2000s. After Steve Jobs was removed from Apple, he went on to create Pixar, and we all love Pixar. We know their movies pretty well. I think it was like they made Monsters Inc., they made Toy Story, they made so many great fucking Disney films over the years, right? And they're like the main animation studio. And I think it was Bob Iger, who was the former Disney CEO, who took over after what was the guy's name? Michael Eisner. He took over after Michael Eisner, and the whole thing was that in doing so, he basically, he became like the head of Disney, and then he ended up buying out Pixar. And the reason he knew that he should buy out Pixar is that he saw when he was at a parade, when he was working at Disney, that people, like the kids, recognized Toy Story and all these other like Pixar characters more than fucking Mickey Mouse. So I think Mickey Mouse is like obviously like the main, that's like their mascot. That's Mickey Mouse is the fucking Pikachu of Disney, right? So everyone knows who he is. But the whole thing is that for people to say like he's like the main revenue driver, I think is kind of bullshit. It's just that he's the character that's recognized worldwide. But now if you look at how Disney is and like how their parks are set up, they have Disney Sea in Tokyo, they have a Disney World in Beijing, I'm sorry, Shanghai, they have Hong Kong, they have Euro Disney, like they're all over the globe with like parks and resorts and locations. And I think now that like the Pixar films have been translated into different languages, and now they're starting to like recreate a lot of these movies like The Lion King. They did like the live action one, and they've done all these other films at the same time, and have been slowly releasing them. I think they did like a live action Mulan film. So like there are other characters a part of their pipeline that are so recognizable and people love. So I think that obviously they're going to push to try to extend this copyright thing, but I don't think it's the end of the world, because their other IP is ridiculous. Like Toy Story is a ridiculous brand for them. I don't think they're going to make any more Toy Story films, but everyone knows who Buzz and Woody are. Everyone knows who Zurg is. Everyone knows who fucking the little aliens are. Like that in itself is crazy. Monsters Inc. was like a hit. Everyone loved those movies. And then, there's like a whole bunch of these other like Pixar films that have done really well that everyone's familiar with. Like, The Lion King is another great example. So, I think that they're fine. I think they're going to be good because they have so much other IP that they made in the late 90s or like mid 90s that they're going to have full, ownership of, and not have to worry about it entering the public domain at least for like another 100 years or so. So they're going to be fine. They'll be just fine, in my opinion.
So yeah, I would tend to agree with you that Disney's has done a good job of diversifying its revenue stream with all these different characters. I actually saw this study. It was done by this former scientist who was actually hired by Bill Ackman, and they broke down revenue streams by different characters for Disney. And I'm just gonna read off like how much revenue some of these characters have brought in for Disney. So like Mickey Mouse, right? He brought in 5.8 billion. Jessica Rabbit, 1 billion. Iron Man, 400 million. Kylo Ren, 2 billion. Anna and Elsa 1.5 billion, Captain America 400 million, Belle 1 billion, Captain Jack Sparrow 423 million, Buzz and Woody 2 billion. That was the Toy Story you're talking about. That's pretty good. 2 billion. Aladdin and Friends 365 mil. Dory 1 bill. Wow, I didn't even know they owned that. Dory. Simba and Company 1.2 billion. That was the Lion King.
Dory is Finding Nemo. So Finding Nemo's huge too. That's another Pixar film, bro. Pixar's literally the fucking moneymaker. That was the best acquisition they've made. I'm telling you.
Wow, they own Wolverine too. Wolverine 1 billion. Winnie the Pooh. Wow, Winnie the Pooh is actually more than Mickey Mouse. 5.6 billion for Winnie the Pooh. That's a huge franchise.
Yep, everyone knows Winnie the Pooh.
Spider-Man 2 bill. Snow White 1.3, and Aurora. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's some Disney princess, 300 mil. Wow. Oh my God! Look at this one, Scrooge McDuck. Holy shit! 6 billion for
Scrooge McDuck's the man. Yeah, Scrooge McDuck's the fucking man, bro. That's me. I'm Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales. But no, yeah, I told you their IP is crazy. They own everything, and they bought Marvel and they own Star Wars now, bro. It's over. They got the media game on lock. Once they bought Marvel, it was a wrap because they pump these movies out like there's no tomorrow. They literally make, if you look at all the box office records, even though they put all this like woke bullshit in there that no one cares about, these movies pull fucking mad money. Like they end up making like 300 or 400 million at the box office like every fucking time they come out. And it's like the same fucking copy paste superhero movie. They're like very I mean, they do a good job with like casting and stuff. I'd give them credit for that. But it's all just like copy paste bullshit, bro. They're on like another Spider-Man series now, like franchise, and like it's the same fucking story with Uncle Ben dying and like, you know, whatever, like Spider-Man fucking starts like fighting crime because Uncle Ben gets killed. It's literally the same story. Like they literally just take everything from the comics and they just condense it into like a 2-hour film, and then they make like 400 million. That's literally the game plan. And the animated films obviously are a lot harder to make, and there's a lot more like effort and spending that goes into that. But Pixar, I'm telling you, Pixar literally has an unlock. Like Pixar is the moneymaker for Disney for sure. Like for fucking sure.
Yeah, I mean, Disney they own a whole bunch of stuff. They own ESPN. I think they put ESPN at 1.2 too. ABC, you know, they own that as well. So like,
yeah, they're gonna
like,
spin off ESPN. I heard that's the plan. I think it's Dan Loeb. Is it Dan Loeb from Third Point? He actually bought a big piece in Disney. And I think he's actually, here you go. Hedge fund manager Dan Loeb buys a new stake in Disney, and he's pushing for the entertainment giant to spin off its sports network, ESPN. Yeah, because ESPN doesn't make them any fucking money. They actually lose money on ESPN, which is pretty crazy. But it makes sense, though, because it's a 24-hour news network, like dedicated to sports. So no one's watching it at like 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock in the morning unless they skip to work or school. So ESPN doesn't make any money. And they're like very odd because there are certain topics they like can't really talk about on there that kind of have to get covered with sports. Like if you watch First Take, they talk about guys that get suspended for like smoking pot or like doing drugs, right, or whatever, or failing like a steroid test like Tatis did, right? Did you see that last week? Fernando Tatis failed his fucking steroid test or whatever.
Yeah, suspended for like 60 games.
Yeah, he got popped. Yeah, 80. It was like 80 games. He got popped. So he's fucked. He's going to be banned into next year. But which sucks because the Padres are fucking loaded this year, and last year they were loaded too. But I thought this might have been a good year for them. But he got popped, and he's pretty young too. I think he's like 22 or 23. But he's just a dumbass. He didn't need it. You know what I mean? But no, the whole thing is like, I think with ESPN, there's like a lot of shit that they can't really talk about with sports because they have to like dance around the fact that they're owned by Disney. So they can't just be like, yeah, this guy got popped for fucking taking steroids, or like this, you know, Josh Gordon got popped for fucking smoking weed, or this guy got a DUI. Like they have to like kind of tone it down, and they have to be more like professional about talking about certain topics, or like they'll just avoid certain like trending topics altogether because again, they're owned by a company that brands itself as like a family network. It's almost kind of like when Twitter was going to get bought out. and this was obviously well before Elon Musk. There were rumors that Twitter was going to get bought out by Disney, and that Bob Iger, who was Jack Dorsey's mentor, was going to buy out Twitter and incorporate it into that Disney brand. But like Twitter has a lot of shit on there that other social networks don't have. And it's more of like a, whatever, it's like content for like not for kids, right? So, like people are like, well, how would Disney incorporate that into their umbrella? And it's just like, well, they can't, right? Because Twitter, lets people put shit up that you can't put up on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere else. And it's like Disney doesn't want their brand to be associated with that. So that's like the whole thing. That's what I think they're going to do with ESPN. I think they're going to probably spin it off like Dan Loeb says. And that's probably for the best because it really doesn't make any money. Like they have to overpay. They have like 3 or 4 guys that are on there that they like grossly overpay. And they're like the main draws. Like Stephen A. Smith is like the Mickey Mouse of fucking ESPN. Like he does like all the work. He's on like every show. And he's the only one that like pulls views, and he knows how to get people fucking riled up. So he's the main draw. Once they lost Skip Bayless, it became the Stephen A. show.